Good evening, everybody. Oh, hold on a minute. I can never get my hand around this. There we go. Okay, good evening, everybody. Well, let me give myself a little bit more light. Let's see, how's that? Oh, that's better. You wouldn't think I spent at least 20 minutes setting all this up, would you? So today I tried to do a little bit of a Shahrazad look, but I gave up on the hair because it was going to take too long. So I hope you are all very well this evening. My name is Joanna Godwin Seidl. I run Vienna Theatre Project. Since March we've been reading 1001 Arabian Nights. For those of you who have not listened to us beforehand, I hope you're going to enjoy this evening. Saman will be back with us next week. Without further ado, I shall get on and read this night's reading. Tonight is dedicated to lions. And that's a little joke amongst friends that I can't tell you about, I'm afraid. So, children, I hope you are all... I tell you what I wanted to do, put some incense on. That would be nice, wouldn't it? There we go. How's that? Lovely. Problem with the incense is often it makes me sneeze. We'll see how I get along, shall we? So, now, when it was the 158th night, Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Abu al-Hassan went with a girl to the house of Ali, son of Bakar, where he left her standing at the door and walked in to his great joy. And Abu al-Hassan said to him, 'The reason of my coming is that such an one hath sent his handmaid to thee with a letter, containing his greeting to thee, and mentioning therein that the cause of his not coming to thee was a matter that hath betided him. The girl standeth even now at the door. Shall she have leave to enter?' And he signed to him that it was Shams al-Nahar's slave. And when he saw her, he shook for joy and signed to her, "How doth thy Lord? Allah grant him health and healing." "He is well," answered she, and pulling out the letter, gave it to him. He took it, and kissing it, opened it, and read it, after which he handed it to Abu al-Hasan, who found these verses written therein. "This messenger shall give my news to thee. Patience, what while my sight thou canst not see? A lover leavest in love's insanity, whose eyne abide on wake incessantly. I suffer patience pangs in woes that none of men can medicine, such my destiny. Keep cool thine eyes, ne'er shall my heart forget, nor without dreams of thee one day shall be. Look what befell thy wasted frame, and thence argue what I am doomed for love to dree. And afterwards, without fingers, I have written to thee, and without tongue I have spoken to thee. To resume my case, I have an eye wherefrom sleeplessness departeth not, and a heart whence sorrowful thought stirreth not. It is with me as though health I had never known, nor in sadness ever ceased to wone, nor spent an hour in pleasant place, but it is as if I were made up of pine, and of the pain of passion and chagrin. Sickness unceasingly troubleth, and my yearning ever redoubleth. Desire still groweth, and longing in my heart still gloweth. I pray Allah to hasten our union, and dispel of my mind the confusion. I would fain thou favour me with some words of thine, that I may cheer my heart in pain and repine. Moreover, I would have thee put on a patience leaf, until Allah vouchsafe relief, and his peace be with thee. When Ali bin Bakr had read this letter, he said in weak accents and feeble voice, "With what hand shall I write, and with what tongue shall I make moan and lament? Indeed, she addeth sickness to my sickness, and draweth death upon my death." Then he sat up and, taking in hand ink case and paper, wrote the following reply. In the name of Allah, the compassionating, the compassionate, thy letter hath reached me, O my lady, and hath given me ease to a sprite worn out with passion and love longing, and hath brought healing to a wounded heart, cankered with languishment and sickness. For indeed I am become, even as saith the poet, straitened bosom, reveries dispread, slumberless eyelids, body wearied, patience cut short, disunion longsomest, reason deranged, and heart where life is fled. And know that complaining is unavailing, but it easeth him whom love longing disordereth, and separation destroyeth, and with repeating union I keep myself comforted. And how fine is the saying of the poet who said, did not in love plight joys and sorrows meet? how would the message or the writ be sweet? When he had made an end to the letter, he handed it to Abu al-Hasan, saying, "Read it and give it to the damsel." So he took it, and he read it, and its words stirred his soul, and its meaning wounded his vitals. Then he committed it to the girl, and when she took it, Ali bin Bakkar said to her, "Salute thy lady for me, and acquaint her with my love and longing, and how passion is blended with my flesh and my bones. And say to her that in very deed I need a woman who shall snatch me from the sea of destruction and save me from this dilemma. For of a truth, fortune oppresseth me with her vicissitudes, and is there any helper to free me from her turpitudes?" And he wept, and the damsel wept for his weeping. And then she took leave of him and went forth, and Abu al-Hasan went out with her and farewelled her. So she ganged her gate and returned to his shop, which he opened, and sat down there, as was his wont. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. I hope you're all still sitting comfortably. Now when it was the 159th night, Shahrazad said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Abu al-Hasan farewelled the slave girl and returned to his shop, which he opened and sat down there according to his custom. But as he tarried, he found his heart oppressed and his breast straitened, and he was perplexed about his case. So he ceased not from melancholy the rest of that day and night, and on the morrow he betook himself to Ali bin Bakkar, with whom he sat till the folk withdrew, when he asked him how he did. Ali began to complain of desire, and to dissent upon the longing and the distraction which possessed him, and repeated these words of the poet: "Man have plained of pining before my time, live and dead by parting, been terrified. But such feelings are those which my ribs immure, I have never heard of, nor ever espied." And these of another poet: "I have home for thy love what never bore, for his fair case the daft one hight of old. Yet I share not the wildings of wold and wild, like Kay's, for madness is manifold." Thereupon Abu al-Hasan quoth, "Never did I see or hear of one like unto thee in thy love. When thou sufferest all the transport and sickness and trouble, being enamoured of one who returneth thy passion, how would it be with thee if she whom thou lovest were contrary and contumelious, and thy case were discovered through her perfidy?" And Ali, the son of Bakkar, says Abu al-Hasan, was pleased with my words, and he relied upon them, and he thanked me for them that I had said and done. "I had a friend," continued Abu al-Hasan, "to whom I discovered my affair, and that of Ali, and who knew that we were intimates. But none other than he was acquainted with what betwixt us. He was wont to come to me and inquire how Ali did, and after a little he began to ask me about the damsel. But I fenced him off, saying, she invited him to her, and there was between him and her as much as can possibly take place, and this is the end of their affair. But I have devised me a plan and an idea which I would submit to thee, asked his friend. And what is that? Answered Abu al-Hasan. I am a person well known to have much dealing among men and women, and I fear, O my brother, lest the affair of these twain come to light, and this lead to my death, and the seizure of my goods, and the rending of my repute, and that of my family. Wherefore I have resolved to get together my monies, and make ready forthright, and repair to the city of Bassorah, and there abide, till I see what cometh of their case, that none may know of me. For love hath lorded over both, and correspondence passeth between them. At this present, their go-between and confidant is a slave girl, who have till now kept their counsel. But I fear lest haply anxiety get the better of her, and she discover their secret to someone, and the matter being bruited abroad might bring me to great grief, and prove the cause of my ruin. For I have no excuse to offer my accusers, rejoined his friend. Thou hast acquainted me with a parlous affair, from the like of which the wise and understanding will shrink with fear. Allah avert from thee the evil thou dreadest, with such dread, and save thee from the consequences thou apprehendest. Assuredly, thy wrecking is a right. So Abu al-Hasan returned to his place, and began ordering his affairs and preparing for his travel. Nor had 3 days passed ere he made an end of his business, and fared forth Bassorah-wards. His friend came to visit him 3 days after, but finding him not, asked of him from the neighbours, who answered, He set out for Bassorah 3 days ago, for he had dealings with its merchants, and he has gone thither to collect monies from his debtors, but he will soon return. The young man was confounded at the news, and knew not whither to wend, and he said in his mind, Would I had not parted from Abu al-Hasan. Then he bethought of him, of some plan whereby he should gain access to Ali bin Bakkar. So he went to his lodging, and said to one of his servants, Ask leave for me of thy lord, that I may go in and salute him. The servant entered, and told his master, and presently returning, invited the man to walk in. So he entered, and found Ali bin Bakkar thrown back on the pillow, and saluted him. Ali returned his greeting and bade him welcome, whereupon the young man began to excuse himself for having held aloof from him all that while, and added, O my lord, between Abu al-Hasan and myself there was close friendship, so that I used to trust him with my secrets, and could not sever myself from him an hour. Now it so chanced that I was absent 3 days' space on certain business with the company of my friends, and when I came back and went to him, I found his shop locked up. So I asked the neighbours about him, and they replied he had gone to Bassorah. Now I know that he knows surer friend than thou, so by Allah, tell me what thou knowest of him. When Ali bin Bakkar heard this, his colour changed, and he was troubled, and answered, I never heard till this day of his departure, and if this be the case as thou sayest, weariness has come upon me. And he began repeating, For joys that are no more I want to weep, while friends and lovers stood by me unscattered. This day when disunited me and them, fortune, I weep lost loves and friendships shattered. Then he hung his head groundwards in thought a while, and presently, raising it, and looking to one of his servants, said, Go to Abu al-Hasan's house, and inquire anent him whether he be at home or journeying abroad. If they say he is abroad, ask whither he has gone." The servant went out, and returning after a while, said to his master, "When I asked for Abu al-Hasan, his people told me that he was gone on a journey to Basra. But I saw a damsel standing at the door who, knowing me by sight, thought I knew her not, said to me, 'Art thou not servant to Ali bin Bakkar?' 'Even so,' answered I, and she rejoined, 'I bear a message for him from one who is the dearest of all folk to him.' So she came with me, and she is now standing at the door." Quoth Ali bin Bakkar, "Bring her in." The servant went out to her and brought her in, and the man who was with Ali looked at her and found her pretty. Then she advanced to the son of Bakkar and saluted him. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. So, dear friends, it was short and sweet this evening. I hope you have all enjoyed it very, very much. I will be back tomorrow night for the last time this week, 21:45 Central European Time, to read you from the 160th night and more potentially of 1001 Arabian Nights. It's going to be interesting to see how this story develops. So much passion and love and sadness from these beautiful people. I hope it goes very well for them by the end, because it'll be very sad if they lose their love. Because people losing love is a sad thing. I hope you have found love, and I hope you are happy, and I wish you all many blessings and a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon, beautiful evening, and beautiful night. Many salams. Thank you very much for listening in this evening, and hopefully I'll be able to welcome you again tomorrow. Thank you. Good night.